The human brain, a complex organ, is the control center of our bodies, orchestrating everything from our heartbeat to our most complex cognitive functions. Its intricate network of neurons and synapses forms the basis of our consciousness and identity. While we often focus on similarities, it's crucial to recognize the unique differences that exist. These differences can influence how we perceive and interact with the world. Emerging research highlights a crucial factor influencing brain structure and function: sex. Male and female brains exhibit distinct patterns in various regions, affecting memory, emotion, spatial abilities, and language processing. These differences are deeply rooted in the biological wiring of our brains. For instance, women tend to have a larger hippocampus, involved in emotion and memory, while men often have a larger amygdala, key in processing threats and fear. The brains are also evolving differently. Yes, the male and female brains can change relative to the passing of time, and by time, comparing to the brains of prior generations, intriguing. The neural pathways and connections in male and female brains can lead to variations in behavior, cognition, and susceptibility to certain mental health conditions. This essay delves into sex differences in brain pathology, examining how these variations influence neurological diseases. For example, men may be more prone to Parkinson's disease, while women are more likely to suffer from Alzheimer's disease. Exploring why male brains might be more vulnerable to certain diseases can provide valuable insights into prevention and treatment strategies. Understanding these differences is about unraveling the complexities of the brain to develop better diagnoses, treatments, and ultimately improve lives. By appreciating the unique aspects of male and female brains, we can foster a more nuanced approach to healthcare. From the very beginning, even before birth, male and female brains start to diverge in their developmental paths. These differences are influenced by genetic, hormonal, and environmental factors. Prenatal hormones like testosterone and estrogen shape structural and functional differences. Testosterone influences areas related to aggression and spatial abilities. The male brain is generally larger in volume, linked to differences in certain cognitive functions, not necessarily higher intelligence. The female brain has a higher percentage of gray matter in regions associated with language and emotional processing, contributing to superior verbal abilities and emotional intelligence. These structural differences influence behavior, cognition, and disease susceptibility. Males are more prone to neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and higher rates of schizophrenia, while females are more likely to suffer from mood disorders such as depression and anxiety. These differences extend beyond anatomy, affecting information processing, stress reactions, and pain experiences. Neurochemicals like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA show sex-specific patterns, influencing mood, motivation, and behavior. These neurochemical differences affect susceptibility to mental health conditions and responses to treatment. The biopathways involved and the brain-gut axis, both involved in the metabolism of these neurochemicals, can differ between the sexes. This is an exciting new area of research. Neurodevelopmental disorders like autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, show distinct patterns in boys and girls. Boys are more frequently diagnosed with both conditions. Male neurobiology during fetal development differs highly from that of females, linking it to neurodevelopmental disorders. Abnormally high levels of different sex hormones during fetal development, that can be caused by environmental neurotoxins, may increase ASD risk in boys. Girls, on the other hand, have neuroprotective characteristics that shield them from this elevated risk of neurodevelopmental disease. These elevated levels of hormone exposure to the male fetus influences neural circuit formation, leading to connectivity patterns seen in ASD. Variations in dopamine signaling linked to ADHD are more pronounced in males, explaining its higher prevalence in boys. Substance abuse disorders reveal a stark gender divide. Men are more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol and experience severe consequences. Biological differences in the brain's reward pathways play a crucial role. The male brain exhibits a heightened response to dopamine associated with pleasure and reward. However, this depends on the male brain circuitry, which can be caused by early childhood or even prenatal exposures to neurotoxins, making men more susceptible to the reinforcing effects of drugs and alcohol. Additionally, testosterone, or the lack of testosterone, depending on the cause of symptoms, might exacerbate this vulnerability. Understanding these biological factors is critical for developing targeted treatments for male addiction. Let's touch on immunity on the line. Sex differences in immune responses. Our immune systems also exhibit sex differences, affecting responses to infections, diseases, and vaccines. Women generally have stronger immune responses than men, making them less susceptible to certain infections and more responsive to vaccines. However, it's important to note that the female response difference to vaccines are acute, not chronic differences in their symptoms. However, this comes with a higher risk of disorders that are considered to be an immunodysfunction, where researchers have surmised the immune system is reacting in a way that damages the body's own tissues. Conditions like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis are more common in women. These immune differences are linked to sex hormones. Estrogen and testosterone modulate the immune system, influencing its reactions. Estrogen enhances immune responses, making the body more vigilant against pathogens. Testosterone suppresses immune responses, making men more susceptible to infections but less prone to immunoresponsive diseases. Understanding these differences is crucial for developing sex-specific treatments, ensuring personalized medical care for both men and women. Tailoring treatments for optimal outcomes. Understanding that male and female brains differ in disease vulnerabilities necessitates personalized medicine. This approach optimizes treatment strategies for both sexes. For example, targeting testosterone in addiction could improve male-specific treatments. Similarly, understanding estrogen's impact on immunity can refine treatments for women. Tailoring treatments to each sex's biology enhances efficacy and reduces side effects. However, it's more complex than simply linking testosterone to males and estrogen to females. There are intricate cross-interactions between biopathways responsible for the production of neurohormones other than those two sex hormones that perform differently in men and women. Embracing our differences. The study of sex differences in brain pathology is still emerging. It's fascinating and complex. As research advances, we will uncover more about how sex shapes disease vulnerability. They are undeniably linked. The purpose of these studies are to advance diagnostic tools and personalized treatments. Imagine if our sex differences were accounted for when performing highly targeted tests for neurological disease or immunological responses, depending on the levels, the localization of, and the concentration of hormones and other signaling compounds in our bodies. This perspective shift will lead to better health outcomes for everyone. Recognizing the spectrum of brain diversity. While this essay has focused on male and female categories, it is crucial to acknowledge that sex and gender exist on a spectrum. Intersex individuals possess biological characteristics that do not fit typical classifications. Transgender individuals experience a disconnect between their assigned sex and gender identity. Recognizing this spectrum is essential for inclusive healthcare systems. These individuals need personalized medical care, as they may have significantly differing physiology from the binary sexes. By studying intersex or transgender individuals, we can discover more about the differences between the sexes and, in the process, provide personalized medical care to marginal groups. A call to action. Bridging the gap in research and treatment. Understanding sex differences in brain pathology is an understated goal. Financing research and providing more grants to incentivize investigations into this realm of medicine are needed to grasp these sex differences and their disease implications. This knowledge will undoubtedly help develop effective treatments and prevention strategies. Healthcare providers must consider sex as a biological variable in diagnosis and treatment. While they do, the emerging research has provided more underlying differences than past epidemiological studies providers depend on would otherwise suggest. A clinical translation of basic science research as it pertains to sex pathology differences will improve the quality of life for those that have been given care according to a universal and general checklist of methods without considering these brain differences. Thank you for watching this episode of Gender Gap Science. If you feel you found value in this episode and are curious about gender gaps, please help us by pressing the like button and subscribe for more videos like this one.